The great hall of Nexus Prime buzzed with alien voices. Delegates from 47 different worlds sat in a circle, their various forms creating a strange rainbow of colors and shapes. Some breathed air, others needed special tanks. Some had wings, others had tentacles. But today they all had one thing in common. They wanted to talk about Earth. Dr. Yuna Kim sat quietly in her assigned seat, her hands folded in her lap. Next to her, Captain Jinwoo Park adjusted his uniform and watched the room with careful eyes. They were the only humans present at this special session of the Intergalactic Council. The topic was supposed to be trade agreements, but somehow it had turned into something else entirely. "I tell you, friends," said Ambassador Vex from the Zephyrian Empire. His blue skin gleamed under the station lights. "The creatures on that world are beyond anything we have seen before." The other delegates leaned forward. Even the floating gas beings from Nebula 7 seemed interested, their glowing forms pulsing brighter. Vex continued his story. "During my diplomatic visit to Earth 3 cycles ago, I witnessed something terrible. The humans called it a golden retriever, but I knew better. This beast was massive, with powerful jaws that could crush bone. Its eyes held the intelligence of a hunter. When it opened its mouth, I saw teeth designed for tearing flesh." Several delegates made worried sounds. The crystalline Valdorian representative, whose name was too complex for human tongues, spoke in her musical voice. "We had similar encounters. The humans showed us their sky serpents during our visit to their northern territories. Hundreds of them moved across the sky in perfect formation. Their wings blocked out the sun itself. The sound they made was like the screams of the dying. "Geese," Yuna whispered to Captain Park. "She's talking about migrating geese." Captain Park tried not to smile. He had read all the reports from the diplomatic visits. He knew exactly what the aliens had seen. The Nerian delegate rose from his water tank. His octopus-like body moved gracefully as he spoke. "Do not forget the deep monsters. In their oceans we encountered beasts with tentacles longer than our ships. They moved with purpose and intelligence. One of them approached our underwater vessel and struck it repeatedly with calculated precision. We barely escaped with our lives." "That was probably a dolphin playing," Yuna murmured. More delegates began sharing their stories. The insect-like Chitari spoke of earth-shakers that could move mountains with their trunks. The energy beings from Proxima Station described night hunters with glowing eyes that could see in total darkness. Each tale grew more dramatic than the last. Ambassador Korath from the militant Krovar hegemony stood up. His warrior species was known throughout the galaxy for their strength and battle skills. When a Krovar spoke, others listened. "I have fought in 30 campaigns across 12 star systems," Korath announced. His voice was deep and commanding. "I have faced the war beasts of Altair Prime and survived the poison swamps of Vega 6, but nothing prepared me for what I saw on Earth." The hall fell silent. If something could frighten a Krovar warrior, it must be truly terrifying. "They called it a house cat," Korath said slowly. "Small, they claimed. Harmless, they insisted. But I watched this creature hunt. It moved like death itself, silent and precise. Its eyes tracked movement with the focus of a trained assassin. When it struck, there was no mercy, no hesitation. It played with its prey before delivering the killing blow. This was no simple animal. This was a perfect killing machine, bred for murder." The delegates shifted nervously in their seats. Some of the more fragile species moved closer to their bodyguards. Chancellor Drex, the leader of this council session, nodded gravely. "These reports are most disturbing. How do the humans control such dangerous creatures? Are they weapons? Part of their military?" Yuna looked at Captain Park. He shrugged slightly as if to say, "Your call." She had been quiet for most of the session, letting the aliens share their stories. But this was getting out of hand. "Actually," Yuna said, standing up slowly. Her voice was soft but clear. "I think there might be some confusion here." All eyes turned to her. The room became very quiet. The golden retriever that Ambassador Vex saw was probably playing fetch, she explained. They like to chase balls and bring them back. The terrible jaws he mentioned are used for carrying toys and giving gentle kisses to children. Vex made a sound of disbelief. Impossible. I saw what I saw. Yuna nodded politely. I believe you did, but golden retrievers are known for being friendly family pets. The one you met was probably excited to see new visitors. She turned to the Valdorian delegate, and your sky serpents were most likely Canadian geese during their seasonal migration. They travel in flocks and can be quite loud, but they're just flying to warmer places for winter. The crystalline being's form flickered with doubt. As for the deep monster, Yuna addressed the Nerian. That sounds like a dolphin. They're very curious about new things. When one hit your ship repeatedly, it was probably just investigating. They use sound to explore their world like natural sonar. Captain Park watched the aliens' faces. Some looked confused, others skeptical. A few seemed almost disappointed. Dr. Kim, said Chancellor Drex carefully, are you suggesting that these fearsome beasts the delegates encountered are actually harmless? Yuna considered her words. Not harmless exactly. But the animals you met were in safe, controlled environments. They were relaxed, content. Some might even say they were being playful. The word playful seemed to hang in the air like a challenge. Ambassador Koreth's eyes narrowed. You claim that the perfect predator I witnessed was merely playing? House cats do love their toys, Yuna said gently. Several delegates began talking at once. Some laughed nervously, others seemed offended. The idea that they had been frightened by Earth's equivalent of pets was hard to accept for proud warrior species. Chancellor Drex raised his hand for silence. Dr. Kim, your explanation is interesting, but surely you understand why the delegates might find it difficult to believe. The creatures they describe sound quite formidable. Yuna smiled. It was a small, knowing smile that made Captain Park slightly nervous. He had seen that expression before, usually right before she proved someone very wrong about something. Oh, they can be formidable, she said quietly. But you only saw the playful ones. The silence in the great hall stretched for several long seconds. Yuna's words seemed to echo in the minds of every delegate present. Chancellor Drex was the first to break the quiet. Dr. Kim, he said slowly, perhaps you could explain what you mean by that statement. Yuna looked around the room at all the curious and worried faces. She had not planned to say anything today. The diplomatic mission was supposed to be simple: sign some trade agreements, attend a few meetings, and return to Earth. But listening to the aliens describe her planet's animals like monsters from their worst nightmares was too much. I mean exactly what I said, Yuna replied. The animals you encountered during your visits to Earth were relaxed and comfortable. They were in their safest possible state. Ambassador Vex shook his blue head firmly. Impossible. The creature I saw was clearly a predator. Its movements, its eyes, everything about it screamed danger. Captain Park decided to help explain. Ambassador, may I ask where exactly you encountered this golden retriever? At the human settlement they call Central Park in the city of New York. Vex answered. It was surrounded by small humans who seemed unaware of the danger. Children, Captain Park said. You saw a dog playing with children in a park. The small humans were in terrible peril, Vex insisted. The beast kept charging at them, knocking them down, putting its mouth on them. Yet they seemed to enjoy this torture. Yuna couldn't help but smile. That's called playing fetch and giving kisses. Dogs show affection by licking people. The children were having fun. The Valdorian delegate's crystalline form flickered with confusion. But we witnessed organized aerial warfare. Hundreds of those sky serpents moved in perfect military formation. Geese migrate together for safety and efficiency, Yuna explained. They've been doing it for millions of years. It's not warfare, it's travel. Captain Park pulled out his portable data pad. If I may, I can show you some basic information about Earth animals. He activated a holographic display that showed images and videos of various Earth creatures. This is a golden retriever, he said, showing a video of a large golden dog running happily through a field. They were bred by humans to be companion animals. Their job is to be friendly and helpful. Several aliens leaned forward to get a better look. The dog in the video was wagging its tail and carrying a stick in its mouth. This is what you called sky serpents, Captain Park continued, showing footage of geese flying in their classic V formation. They migrate thousands of miles twice a year. The formation helps them save energy during long flights. Ambassador Korath growled low in his throat. You show us these images of peaceful creatures, but I know what I saw. That small feline was a killer. Cats are hunters, Yuna agreed. But house cats mostly hunt small prey like mice and insects. They help humans by controlling pests. Pests? The Chitauri delegate clicked his mandibles together nervously. His insect-like species considered themselves the galaxy's premier pest controllers. Small creatures that eat human food supplies, Captain Park explained diplomatically. Chancellor, Drex looked thoughtful. Dr. Kim, Captain Park, I appreciate your explanations, but surely you can understand our delegates' concerns. These creatures, even if they are as harmless as you claim, still demonstrated behaviors that could be interpreted as threatening. Yuna nodded. That's absolutely true, and I think that's where the real misunderstanding lies. She walked to the center of the circle, where all the delegates could see her clearly. Every single one of your visits to Earth was carefully planned and controlled. You visited zoos, parks, research facilities, and diplomatic areas. The animals you encountered were in environments where they felt completely safe. Safe? The Rhaenirian delegate bubbled from his water tank. That ocean predator attacked our vessel multiple times. Dolphins are incredibly curious, Yuna explained. When they see something new in their territory, they investigate. What you interpreted as attacks were probably attempts to communicate or play. Dolphins have been known to help humans in distress. Captain Park added more context. All of your visits were during peaceful times in controlled locations with human guides present. The animals you saw were exhibiting their most relaxed behaviors. Are you suggesting, said Chancellor Drex carefully, that these creatures have different behaviors in other circumstances? Yuna and Captain Park exchanged a look. This was the question they had been hoping to avoid. All animals have different responses to different situations, Yuna said diplomatically. A mother protecting her young behaves differently than the same animal at play. A hungry predator behaves differently than one that has just eaten. And you. Animal defending its territory acts differently than one that feels safe. The room grew quiet again as the aliens considered this. Ambassador Korath stood up slowly. His warrior instincts were clearly engaged. Dr. Kim, are you telling us that Earth's creatures become more dangerous when they feel threatened? I'm telling you that they're like any other living beings, Yuna replied. They adapt their behavior to their circumstances. Chancellor Drex's expression was serious. This is a significant revelation. The Council has been operating under the assumption that we had seen accurate representations of Earth's wildlife during our diplomatic missions. Captain Park cleared his throat. With respect, Chancellor, accurate representations would depend on the circumstances of the encounter. Explain, ordered Ambassador Korath. Yuna took a deep breath. Imagine if Earth delegations visited your worlds only during your most peaceful celebrations, when everyone was relaxed and happy. Would that give us an accurate understanding of your species' full capabilities? The Krovar warrior's eyes narrowed. You would see us as weak. Exactly, Yuna said. You would see one side of who we are, but not the complete picture. The Chitauri delegate clicked rapidly. Are you implying that Earth's creatures possess hidden military capabilities? I'm saying, Yuna replied carefully, that like all living things, they have survival instincts. Chancellor Drex leaned back in his chair. Dr. Kim, Captain Park, I believe this council would benefit from a more complete understanding of Earth's wildlife. Would it be possible for you to provide additional information? Captain Park looked at Yuna. They both knew that this conversation was heading in a direction that could change everything. What kind of information are you looking for? Yuna asked. Ambassador Korath's voice was firm and challenging. We want to see these creatures as they truly are, not playing with children or migrating peacefully. We want to see them as they would be in their natural state, facing real challenges. Yuna was quiet for a moment. Then she looked up at the assembled delegates with that same small, knowing smile. "Are you absolutely certain about that?" she asked. The question hung in the air like a challenge. Ambassador Korath's warrior pride flared at what sounded like doubt about his courage. "We are not children to be frightened by animal videos," Korath declared. His voice carried the authority of someone who had never backed down from a fight. "If these creatures are truly as dangerous as you suggest, then show us. The Krovar Empire fears nothing." Several other delegates murmured their agreement. The crystalline Valdorian's form pulsed with curiosity. "We have faced the storm winds of Vega Prime and the ice hurricanes of Outer Rim. Surely Earth's wildlife cannot be more challenging than the natural disasters we have conquered." Yuna looked around the room at the eager faces. These were beings from advanced civilizations, species that had conquered space travel and built galactic empires. They had faced wars, natural disasters, and the challenges of exploring unknown worlds. In their minds, they had seen the worst the universe could offer. "Very well," Yuna said quietly. "But I want to be very clear about what you're asking for. You want to see Earth's animals as they behave in their natural environments, facing real survival situations." "Yes," Chancellor Drex confirmed. "The Council believes it would be beneficial to have a complete understanding of Earth's ecosystem." Captain Park activated his communication device. "I'll need to contact Earth Command for access to our natural observation archives." "Observation archives?" asked the Nerian delegate from his water tank. "Earth has monitoring systems throughout its natural environments," Captain Park explained. "We track animal behavior for research and conservation purposes. Some of the footage is classified under planetary defense protocols." Planetary defense? The gas beings from Nebula 7 pulsed with interest. "Your animals are part of your military?" "Not exactly," Yuna said. "But understanding our planet's ecosystem is important for security reasons. I'll explain more as we go through the footage." Captain Park's device chimed with an incoming transmission. He listened carefully, then nodded to Yuna. "Earth Command has granted access to Level 3 archives. They're also sending some additional context files." "Level 3? asked Chancellor Drex. "Classified materials," Captain Park admitted. "Footage that we don't usually share with off-world visitors." Yuna walked to the center of the room and activated the main holographic display system. "I think it would be best if we start with familiar creatures and work our way up to more challenging examples." The display lit up with a three-dimensional image of a typical Earth house. Inside, a small orange cat was sitting by a window, watching birds outside. "This is a domestic cat," Yuna began. "Similar to the one Ambassador Korath encountered, but in its home environment." The cat in the recording stretched lazily and walked to a food bowl. It ate calmly, then curled up in a sunny spot for a nap. "As you can see, very peaceful," Yuna said. "This is how cats behave when they feel safe and well fed." Several delegates nodded. This matched what they had expected after Yuna's earlier explanations. "Now," Yuna continued, "let me show you the same species in a different situation." The scene changed to show a cat outside at night. Its posture was completely different. The relaxed, sleepy creature from the house was gone. This cat moved with purpose, its eyes focused and alert. It crouched low, every muscle tense. "This cat is hunting," Yuna explained. "It's using senses that are far superior to human capabilities. Its eyes can see in near total darkness. Its ears can detect sounds we can't hear. Its reflexes are faster than most mechanical systems." The cat in the recording suddenly exploded into motion. It leaped through the air with precision that would make a fighter pilot jealous, landing exactly on target. The hunt was over in seconds. "The transformation is remarkable," observed the Valdorian delegate. "It becomes a completely different creature." "Not different," Yuna corrected. "The same creature, but responding to different circumstances. This is what Ambassador Korath glimpsed when he saw a house cat's natural hunting instincts." Ambassador Korath looked uncomfortable. That small creature moved like a trained assassin. "Cats are natural-born hunters," Captain Park confirmed. Humans domesticated them thousands of years ago specifically because of these skills. They controlled pest populations that threatened food supplies. Yuna changed the display again. Let's look at another familiar example. The new scene showed a golden retriever playing in a backyard with children. The dog was gentle and careful, letting the small humans climb on it and pull its ears without any sign of aggression. This matches what you saw, Ambassador Vex, Yuna said. A family pet in a safe environment. Yes, Vex confirmed, though it still seemed quite large and powerful. Golden retrievers are indeed large and powerful, Yuna agreed. They were originally bred to retrieve waterfowl for hunters. Let me show you what that means. The scene changed to show the same breed of dog in a completely different setting. This dog was working with a human hunter near a frozen lake. When birds fell into the icy water, the dog plunged in without hesitation. It swam through conditions that would kill most beings in minutes, retrieved the prey, and returned to shore. These dogs can swim in near-freezing water for extended periods, Captain Park explained. Their bodies are designed for endurance and strength. They can carry heavy loads across difficult terrain for hours. The delegates watched in fascination as the dog demonstrated abilities they had never imagined. Its powerful swimming, its ability to navigate by scent, its determination to complete its task regardless of harsh conditions. But it was so gentle with the children, Vex said, sounding confused. That's the remarkable part, Yuna replied. The same strength that allows them to work in dangerous conditions also requires incredible control when they interact with humans, especially children. They have to be aware of their own power at all times. Chancellor Drex was taking notes on his datapad. This suggests that Earth's creatures possess considerable intelligence and adaptability. That's correct, Yuna confirmed. But we've only looked at domesticated animals so far. Animals that have lived alongside humans for thousands of years. What about wild creatures? Asked the Chitauri delegate. Animals that have no contact with humans? Yuna paused. That's where things become more interesting. Captain Park received another message on his communicator. Earth Command is asking if we want to proceed to Level 2 archives. Level 2? Ambassador Korath asked. Footage of wild animals in natural survival situations, Captain Park explained. Are you sure you want to continue? The delegates looked at each other. After seeing the impressive abilities of Earth's pets, they were curious about what truly wild creatures might be capable of. Show us, Chancellor Drex ordered. Yuna nodded slowly. Remember, you asked for this, and we're still working our way up gradually. She activated the new footage, and immediately the mood in the room changed. This wasn't a house or a backyard. This was wilderness, raw and unforgiving. This is Earth's natural environment, Yuna said quietly. No human control, no safety measures, just survival. The holographic display showed a dense forest at dawn. Mist drifted between ancient trees, and everything seemed peaceful and quiet. The delegates leaned forward, expecting to see more examples of Earth's surprisingly capable but ultimately manageable wildlife. Then the wolves appeared. At first, they looked almost like the friendly dogs the aliens had seen before, but there was something different in their movement, something that made several delegates shift uncomfortably in their seats. These are gray wolves, Yuna explained, the ancestors of domestic dogs. They live in family groups called packs, and they hunt together. The wolves in the recording were following a scent trail. Their behavior was nothing like the playful golden retriever or the lazy house cat. These animals moved with military precision. They communicated through subtle body language and nearly silent signals. Each wolf had a specific role and position. Watch their coordination, Captain Park pointed out. No verbal commands, no electronic communication. They're operating as a unit based entirely on natural intelligence and thousands of years of evolutionary teamwork. The pack had found their target, a large elk that was separated from its herd. What happened next made several aliens gasp. The wolves didn't simply attack. They planned. Some wolves circled around to cut off escape routes while others stayed back as reserves. The lead wolf waited for the perfect moment when every piece was in position. "This is tactical thinking," observed Ambassador Korath. His warrior training recognized military strategy when he saw it. "They're using flanking, maneuvers, and coordinated assault patterns." "Exactly," Una confirmed. "And they're doing it instinctively. No training required." The hunt concluded quickly and efficiently. The wolves worked together to bring down prey that was much larger and stronger than any individual pack member. Their prey was 3 times the size of a single wolf, noted the Valdorian delegate. Yet they succeeded through teamwork and planning. "Now imagine," Una said quietly, "if those same tactical abilities were applied to defending territory or protecting young." She changed the display to show a different scene. This time, a pack of wolves had encountered human researchers in their territory. But instead of the coordinated attack the delegates might have expected, the wolves simply watched from a distance and then melted back into the forest. "They chose not to engage," Captain Park explained. "Wolves generally avoid humans, unless they feel directly threatened or cornered." "They showed restraint," Chancellor Drex observed, "even when they had the advantage of numbers and terrain." "Most Earth predators do," Una said. "They save their energy for necessary hunts and avoid unnecessary conflicts. But that restraint shouldn't be mistaken for inability." The display changed, again this time showing a marine environment. Dolphins swam through crystal-clear water, and the delegates recognized them from earlier descriptions. "These are the deep monsters you encountered," Una said to the Nerian delegate. "Let me show you what they're really capable of." The footage showed dolphins using echolocation to hunt. The sound waves they produced were invisible, but the display showed their effects through special sensors. The dolphins could see inside objects, locate prey buried in sand, and communicate across vast distances. "Their sonar is more advanced than most military detection systems," Captain Park noted. "They can identify objects by density, size, and internal structure." But the real surprise came when the dolphins began hunting as a group. They used their intelligence to create tools from their environment, herding fish into shallow water and using coordinated sound bursts to stun their prey. "Tool use," whispered the Chitari delegate, "and collaborative problem-solving." "Dolphins have been observed teaching these techniques to their young," Una added. "They pass knowledge between generations and adapt their methods to different situations." The Nerian delegate's tentacles writhed nervously in his tank. "When the creature struck our ship, was it attempting to communicate?" "Possibly," Una replied. "Or it might have been investigating the strange sounds your vessel made. Dolphins are incredibly curious, but they're also protective of their territory and family groups." She paused the display and looked around the room. "So far, we've looked at pack hunters and intelligent marine life. Should we continue?" The delegates exchanged uncertain glances. The animals they were seeing were far more sophisticated than they had imagined. These weren't simple beasts driven by instinct alone. They were thinking creatures with complex social structures and problem-solving abilities. "What else is there, Lo?" asked Chancellor Drex. "Individual apex predators," Captain Park answered. "Animals that don't need pack tactics because they're powerful enough to succeed alone." "Show us," Ambassador Korath demanded, though his voice carried less certainty than before. Una activated new footage. The scene was a frozen landscape where wind howled across ice and snow. The temperature readings showed conditions that would be lethal to most galactic species within minutes. "This is the Arctic," Una explained. "One of Earth's most hostile environments." A massive white shape moved across the ice. At first it looked like a moving snowdrift. Then it became clear that this was a living creature, a polar bear, by the void, breathed Ambassador Vex. "How large is that creature?" "Adult males can weigh up to 800 kilograms, Captain Park replied. "They're the largest land predators on Earth." The bear in the recording was hunting seals. It approached a breathing hole in the ice and then did something that amazed the watching aliens. It waited. For hours. Perfectly still. Perfectly patient, in conditions that registered 40 degrees below freezing. "It's using persistence hunting," Una explained. waiting for exactly the right moment when a seal surfaces for air. When the moment came, the bear's speed was shocking. Something that large shouldn't have been able to move that fast. It struck with precision that would impress a sniper, hauling a seal out of the water in one fluid motion. The strength required, muttered the Crovar warrior, to pull a struggling aquatic creature out of water from that position. Polar bears can lift over their own body weight, Captain Park confirmed, and they can swim for days in freezing water if necessary. But surely, said Chancellor Drex, these creatures avoid contact with humans. Yuna's expression grew serious. Actually, no. Polar bears are one of the few Earth predators that will actively hunt humans if they encounter them in their territory. The room fell silent. They consider humans to be prey? Asked the Valdorian delegate. If they're hungry enough and if they encounter humans in their natural habitat, Yuna confirmed. Unlike wolves or dolphins, polar bears don't have a natural fear of humans. To them, we're just another potential food source. And humans live in the same areas as these creatures. The Nerian delegate sounded shocked. Some do, Captain Park answered. Arctic communities have developed specific protocols for dealing with polar bear encounters. It's just part of life in those regions. What kind of protocols? Ambassador Korath asked. Warning systems, secure buildings, armed guards, Captain Park listed, and sometimes, unfortunately, lethal force. The delegates absorbed this information. They were beginning to understand that Earth was a world where apex predators and intelligent life coexisted, often uneasily. Are there others? Asked Chancellor Drex. Other individual predators of this caliber? Yuna and Captain Park exchanged a look. Many others, Yuna said quietly. And some of them are much more dangerous than polar bears. The silence in the Great Hall had grown heavy. What had started as amusing stories about Earth's harmless creatures had become something else entirely. The delegates were beginning to understand that they had severely underestimated the world they had visited. More dangerous than polar bears? Chancellor Drex asked carefully. How is that possible? Yuna looked at her datapad, scrolling through the archived footage. Earth Command has authorized Level 1 access. These are recordings that are normally restricted to military and research personnel only. Level 1? The gas beings from Nebula 7 pulsed nervously. Footage of Earth's most dangerous predators in extreme situations, Captain Park explained. The kind of behavior we hope off-world visitors never encounter. Ambassador Korath straightened in his chair. Despite his growing unease, his warrior, pride wouldn't let him back down. Show us everything. The Crovar Empire needs to understand what we're dealing with. Yuna activated the new display. The scene showed a river system surrounded by dense vegetation. The water was murky and dark. This is crocodile territory, she began. Crocodiles are among the oldest predators on Earth. They've survived virtually, unchanged for over 200 million years. A log-like shape floated motionless in the water. It looked completely inactive, almost like a piece of dead wood. Is it sleeping? Asked the Valdorian delegate. No, Yuna replied. It's waiting. Crocodiles can remain perfectly still for hours, even days, waiting for prey to come close enough. The scene played out for several minutes with no apparent action. Just when the aliens began to think nothing would happen, an antelope approached, the water's edge to drink. What happened next was too fast for most of the delegates to follow. The log exploded into motion with speed that defied physics. The massive predator launched itself partially out of the water, clamped its jaws around the antelope, and dragged it below the surface in less than 2 seconds. By the void, gasped Ambassador Vex. The acceleration, the power. Crocodiles have the strongest bite force of any Earth creature, Captain Park explained. Over 16,000 newtons of pressure. They can crush most materials with their jaws. And the death roll, Yuna added, as the footage showed the crocodile spinning underwater with its prey. They use rotational force to disorient and dismember their targets. Several delegates made uncomfortable sounds. The Chitauri representative's mandibles clicked rapidly with distress. But surely humans don't encounter these creatures regularly, Chancellor Drex said hopefully. Actually, millions of humans live in crocodile habitat, Yuna replied. In Australia, Africa, Southeast Asia, and parts of the Americas, crocodile attacks on humans happen regularly. And yet humans continue to live in these areas? The Nerian delegate sounded incredulous. Earth is a crowded planet, Captain Park explained. Sometimes sharing territory with apex predators is unavoidable. Yuna changed the display to show a different environment, a vast grassland under an African sun. This is lion country, she announced. The new footage showed a pride of lions resting in the shade. They looked peaceful, almost lazy in the heat. Lions are social predators like wolves, Yuna explained, but much more powerful individually. The scene shifted to show the same pride hunting. Unlike the wolves' careful stalking, the lions used raw power and speed. A female lion chased down a zebra that was running at full speed, leaping onto its back and bringing it down through sheer strength. The takedown force, muttered Ambassador Korath. She absorbed the impact of a full-speed collision and maintained her grip. Female lions do most of the hunting, Captain Park noted. The males defend territory and fight other predator groups. As if summoned by his words, the footage showed a territorial dispute between two male lions. The violence was shocking in its intensity. These weren't careful, strategic fights. They were brutal contests of strength, speed, and endurance. They fight to the death? Asked the Valdorian delegate. Sometimes, Yuna confirmed. Male lions will kill the young of defeated rivals and take over their territory and mates. Efficient, observed the Chitauri representative with grudging respect. Now let me show you something that might surprise you, Yuna said, changing the display again. The new scene showed humans and lions in the same area, but instead of conflict, it showed coexistence. Human researchers worked near lion prides. Safari guides brought tourists to observe the predators safely. How is this possible? Asked Chancellor Drex. Mutual respect and understanding, Captain Park replied. Humans have learned to read lion behavior and respond appropriately. Lions have learned that humans can be dangerous and are generally best avoided. But accidents still happen, Yuna added grimly. Every year, lions kill hundreds of humans worldwide. She paused and looked around the room. Are you ready to see Earth's ultimate apex predator? The delegates exchanged nervous glances. After seeing crocodiles and lions, they weren't sure they wanted to know what Earth considered its most dangerous creature. What could be more dangerous than what we've already seen? Asked Ambassador Vex. Great white sharks, Yuna replied simply. Chio. Display changed to show the open ocean. Deep blue water stretched in all directions. For a moment, nothing was visible. Sharks are Earth's perfect predators, Yuna began. They've evolved over 400 million years into living weapons. A massive shadow passed beneath the camera. Then another. The delegates realized they were looking at creatures that dwarfed everything they had seen so far. How large? Whispered the Nerian delegate from his water tank. The largest great whites can reach 6 meters in length and weigh over 2 tons, Captain Park answered. The footage showed a shark attack on a seal. The predator approached from below, invisible against the dark depths until the moment it struck. The attack was devastating in its efficiency, over before the prey even knew it was in danger. They can detect electrical fields, Yuna explained. Every living creature produces tiny electrical signals. Sharks can sense these from vast distances. Perfect hunters, observed Ambassador Korath with professional admiration. And yet, Yuna continued, humans voluntarily enter shark-infested waters every day, swimming, surfing, diving. Are humans insane? Asked Chancellor Drex. Some might say so, Captain Park replied with a slight smile. But humans have developed ways to coexist even with great whites. Shark attacks are actually quite rare considering how often humans and sharks share the same space. The display showed footage of human divers working near great white sharks. The massive predators swam past the humans with apparent indifference. Mutual respect again, Yuna explained. Humans have learned to move carefully and avoid threatening behavior. Sharks have learned that humans aren't their preferred prey. But humans are still attacked sometimes? asked the Valdorian delegate. Yes, Una confirmed, usually cases of mistaken identity or territorial defense. She paused the display and looked around at the assembled aliens. So far we've covered pack hunters, individual predators, and marine apex species. But there's one more category we haven't discussed. What else could there be? Chancellor Drex asked, though he sounded like he wasn't sure he wanted to know. The partnership species, Captain Park replied. Earth creatures that have formed working relationships with humans. Working relationships? Ambassador Korath frowned. With predators? With predators, Una confirmed. Would you like to see how humans and Earth's apex predators work together? The delegates looked at each other with growing amazement and concern. The idea that humans had somehow formed partnerships with the terrifying creatures they had just witnessed seemed impossible. Show us, Chancellor Drex ordered, though his voice carried a note of apprehension. Una smiled that small, knowing smile again. This, she said, is where things get really interesting. The holographic display activated to show a training facility on Earth. The delegates expected to see advanced technology, weapons, or mechanical systems. Instead, they saw humans working alongside the same types of predators they had just been watching in the wild. Military working dogs, Captain Park announced. The footage showed German Shepherds and Belgian Malinois engaged in complex training exercises. But these weren't the friendly pets the aliens had seen before. These animals moved with purpose and discipline that rivaled any military unit. Watch their focus, Una pointed out. These dogs can track specific scents across miles of difficult terrain. They can detect explosives, drugs, and hidden enemies that electronic sensors miss. The training demonstration showed a dog locating a hidden person in under 30 seconds, navigating obstacles that would challenge experienced soldiers. During the Proxima Station crisis 15 years ago, Captain Park continued, human military, dogs detected hegemony infiltrators that had bypassed all electronic security systems. Ambassador Korath's expression shifted to one of professional interest. Our stealth technology is among the galaxy's most advanced. The dogs tracked them by scent, Captain Park explained. No technology required, just natural ability enhanced by training and teamwork. The display changed to show a different kind of partnership. Marine biologists were working with dolphins in open ocean conditions. Research partnerships, Una explained. Dolphins help human scientists explore areas that are too dangerous or difficult for humans alone. The footage showed dolphins guiding human divers through underwater cave systems, warning them of dangerous currents and even rescuing researchers who got into trouble. The dolphins choose to help, Una emphasized. They're not forced or controlled. They participate because they want to. How is that possible? Asked the Valdorian delegate. Why would apex predators willingly work with humans? Mutual benefit, Captain Park replied. Humans provide food, medical care, and protection. The animals provide capabilities that humans lack. The display shifted to show an even more remarkable scene, humans working directly with great white sharks. Shark research programs, Una announced. Scientists tag and track sharks to study their behavior and protect both species. The footage showed human divers approaching massive great whites without cages or weapons. The sharks allowed the humans to attach monitoring devices and take biological samples. This requires incredible trust on both sides, Una explained. The humans must read the sharks' body language perfectly. The sharks must accept that these humans aren't a threat. Chancellor Drex was taking detailed notes. Dr. Kim, these partnerships suggest a level of interspecies communication that we didn't know existed. It's taken thousands of years to develop, Una replied. Humans have learned to understand and work with Earth's predators instead of simply fighting them. But surely, interrupted Ambassador Korath, humans must use superior technology to maintain control in these relationships. Captain Park shook his head. Actually, it's the opposite. The most successful partnerships happen when humans adapt to the animal's natural abilities instead of trying to change them. The display showed historical footage from several decades earlier. A massive shape moved through a forest. Not an Earth creature this time, but clearly alien technology. Hegemony war machines advance through dense woodland, their sensors scanning for human settlements. This is from the failed invasion attempt 30 years ago, Captain Park said quietly. Before the current peace treaties. Ambassador Korath shifted uncomfortably. His people's military history was about to be displayed to the entire council. The war machines in the footage moved confidently through the terrain. Their advanced systems had detected no significant human military presence in the area. What they hadn't expected was what happened next. From seemingly empty forest, wolves emerged. Not just a few, entire packs that had been coordinating across miles of territory. They moved with the same tactical precision the delegates had seen earlier, but now they were targeting alien invaders in their homeland. "The wolves attacked your machines?" asked Chancellor Drex in amazement. "They disabled communications equipment," Captain Park explained. "Wolves are intelligent enough to identify weak points. They severed cables, damaged sensors, and created enough chaos for human forces to respond. But the wolves weren't alone. The footage showed bears emerging from caves and thick brush, their massive strength turned against alien technology. Birds attacked optical systems in coordinated flocks. Even domestic dogs from nearby settlements joined the defense. Your entire ecosystem fought back, the Valdorian delegate observed. Earth's creatures don't distinguish between human threats and alien threats when their territory is invaded, Yuna explained. To them, the hegemony forces were just another predator that needed to be driven away. Ambassador Korath watched his people's war machines being overwhelmed by opponents they had never planned for. Our sensors couldn't track them effectively. They were too small, too fast, and they moved in patterns our computers didn't recognize. Animals don't follow mechanical logic, Captain Park noted. They adapt in real time to changing situations. The footage shifted to show the aftermath. Human cleanup crews worked alongside the same animals that had helped in the defense. Wolves guided rescue teams to survivors. Dogs searched for buried equipment. Bears helped clear blocked paths. Cooperation, Yuna said simply. Not domination. Chancellor, Drek set down his note-taking device. Dr. Kim, Captain Park, I believe this council owes you an apology. We clearly misunderstood the nature of Earth's ecosystem. There's no need for apologies, Yuna replied. You saw exactly what we showed you during your visits. Happy, relaxed animals in safe environments. But that wasn't the complete picture, Ambassador Korath said slowly. No, Yuna agreed. It wasn't. She walked back to the center of the circle, looking at each delegate in turn. When your ambassadors visited Earth, they saw our world during peacetime. The animals they encountered were in their most comfortable state, well-fed, safe, and surrounded by humans they trusted, like seeing a Krovar warrior at a festival instead of in battle, Ambassador Korath muttered. Exactly, Captain Park confirmed. You saw one side of who we are. Chancellor Drex leaned forward. Dr. Kim, why didn't Earth's government provide this information during our initial diplomatic contacts? Yuna was quiet for a moment, considering her answer. Would you have believed us if we had started our relationship by showing you footage of great white sharks and polar bears? Or would you have seen it as a threat? The question hung in the air. The delegates realized that if their first introduction to Earth had been videos of apex predators, they might have decided humanity was too dangerous to contact. You chose to show us your peaceful side first, the Valdorian delegate said thoughtfully. We chose to build trust first, Yuna corrected. The same way humans learn to work with Earth's predators. Mutual respect comes before mutual understanding. Captain Park added context. Earth's policy has always been to lead with friendship. Show people what we can build together, not what we can destroy. But the capability for destruction exists, observed the Narian delegate. Of course, Yuna replied. Every species that survives long enough to reach space has that capability. The question is whether you choose to lead with creation or destruction. Ambassador Korath stood slowly. The proud warrior looked thoughtful rather than angry. Dr. Kim, when the council shared our tales of Earth's beasts, you said we had only seen the playful ones. What did you mean? Yuna smiled, that same small, knowing smile that had started this entire conversation. I meant exactly what I said. Every animal you encountered on Earth was relaxed, content, and feeling safe. They were being playful. She gestured to the holographic display which still showed images of Earth's predators in action. These creatures you've seen today. The hunting wolves, the patient crocodiles, the powerful sharks. This is what Earth's animals become when they need to survive. And humans live among all of these. Chancellor Drex said slowly. Not as their masters, but as their partners. Partners who earned their respect through thousands of years of learning and adaptation, Captain Park confirmed. The room fell quiet as the delegates absorbed the full implications of what they had learned. Earth wasn't just a world with surprisingly capable wildlife. It was a world where an intelligent species had learned to coexist and cooperate with apex predators as a matter of daily life. Dr. Kim, said Chancellor Drex finally, on behalf of the Intergalactic Council, I want to thank you for this education. We clearly had much to learn about Earth and humanity. We all have much to learn about each other, Yuna replied diplomatically. That's why we continue these conversations. Ambassador Korath approached Yuna and Captain Park. I have fought in many battles across the galaxy, but I think I understand now why Earth has never been successfully invaded, despite its relatively small military. Why is that? Yuna asked. Because any species that can earn the loyalty and cooperation of apex predators, Korath said slowly, is not a species that can be conquered by force alone. Captain Park nodded. Earth's greatest weapon isn't our technology or our numbers. It's our ability to build relationships even with creatures that could easily be our enemies. And that, Yuna added quietly, is something we hope to share with the galaxy. Not the ability to control or dominate, but the knowledge of how to cooperate and coexist. Chancellor Drex stood and addressed the assembly. This session has provided valuable insights into Earth's capabilities and philosophy. I believe the Council would benefit from revising our understanding of humanity's place in the galactic community. As the delegates began to disperse, still discussing what they had learned, Ambassador Korath lingered behind. Dr. Kim, he said, may I ask you something? Of course. If Earth's creatures are capable of such remarkable things when they feel threatened or need to survive, what are humans capable of under the same circumstances? Yuna looked at him for a long moment. Then she gave him that small, knowing smile, one last time. Ambassador, she said quietly, I hope the galaxy never has to find out. The Great Hall of Nexus Prime slowly emptied, leaving behind a new understanding between the species that called the galaxy home. The aliens had come expecting to share amusing stories about Earth's harmless pets. They were leaving with a profound respect for a world where apex predators and intelligent life had learned to share the same space not through conquest, but through cooperation. And in the quiet of the empty hall, Yuna's final words echoed with a promise and a warning that would reshape how the galaxy saw humanity forever.